A second arrest made in the deadly shooting of a 4-year-old girl from back in May of 2024. That man was walked out by Bexar County Sheriff's deputies just moments ago. Our Zaria Oates is getting an update on this case from Sheriff Javier Salazar, and she's going to give us a live update as soon as she can. We start here 5 months later, and people say that nothing has changed on a West Bexar County road where a woman was killed by a speeding driver.
We first told you about this story back in April. The car that hit her was said to be going more than 100 miles per hour.
Katrina Weber shows us what people want changed and also what they'll get.
And I was standing right here on this area right here, and I was looking in this direction.
Even after nearly half a year, Jacob Sanchez remembers it well. That April day, while working at a car wash on Alamo Ranch Parkway, he witnessed a deadly crash.
Next thing you know, I just see a bunch of smoke and the car flipping.
We showed you the video back then, a white Mustang streaking by at more than 100 miles per hour. Seconds later, it slammed into 71-year-old Patricia Browning's car near Lone Star Parkway, killing her. 20-year-old Richard Gonzalez was charged with manslaughter while still in the hospital.
I mean, nothing's changed at all. I still see cars flying down this road.
Oh, it's getting worse, I think.
We found Texas Department of Transportation records showing at least 5 more crashes there since then. Zonia Abel gets nervous every time she leaves work. She says drivers exiting Highway 151 nearby hit the street at raceway speeds.
There's a lot of people that race up and down the street. You know, it's a little out of control now, especially with all the growth that we're having in the area.
That growth is behind a study the county was doing even before the crash, but it focuses on traffic congestion. It calls for adding an overpass for eastbound drivers and possibly others up and down that road. People here say something has to be done about speeding drivers, starting with installing a traffic light right here, but it doesn't appear that is anywhere in the plans.
It is frustrating because without nothing happening, you know, there's always a chance of it happening again.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says it's doing what it can to help by having more of a presence in the area and increasing traffic enforcement. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Well, the fallout continues after the assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk. Jourdanton ISD has fired one of its teachers after the instructor made a social media post about Kirk's death. Matthew Holland was terminated during a school board meeting on Tuesday. We don't know exactly what Holland posted on social media, but the school district took to its own social media page on September 12th that appeared to reference and refer to Holland. It read in part, quote, "We want to be absolutely clear. Jourdanton ISD condemns any language, behavior, or actions that are disrespectful, discriminatory, or show insensitivity towards victims of violence, their families, or the broader community," end quote.
No more delays in the case against the former San Antonio police officer who shot a teenager in a McDonald's parking lot.
From hell or high water, you're going to be here in this court at 9 o'clock in the morning to pick that jury, okay? So.
You just heard there from Judge Joel Perez denying a request to push back James Brennan's trial. Brennan is charged with aggravated assault of a public servant for shooting then teenager Eric Cantu back in 2022. Brennan's attorneys wanted to push the trial back a few weeks, arguing that they'd be tied up in a different trial. But as you just heard him, Judge Joel Perez said no. He said that jury summons have already been sent out. So now jury selection in that case is going to begin October 17th, and opening arguments are expected to begin October 20th. If he's convicted, Brennan faces anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison.
Well, it is an incredibly tough subject to talk about, but having open discussions could save children's lives. Child suicide numbers are climbing rapidly. The CDC reports suicide is the second leading cause of death among people between 10 and 34 years old. For preteens, that's ages 8 to 12, suicide deaths have been increasing about 8% per year from 2008 to 2022. I spoke with a dad who lost his daughter to suicide and wants parents to know there are things they can do now to address this. He also wants other grieving parents like him to know they are not alone and it's not their fault.
That horrible day was August 23rd of 2021.
That was the day Moses Verbena lost his 18-year-old daughter, Sydney, to suicide.
She had such a big heart.
Sydney was known for helping others with their depression.
She was going through mental illness for years.
The guilt of why didn't we do more, maybe? And that comes with a negative stigma, and that's one of the parts that people don't always talk about.
Moses and his wife, Monica, leaned on ABC of Southwest Texas during their grief.
And this garden was actually donated.
Desiree Holmes is the bereavement director, offering navigation and free services for grieving families, including counseling.
Just this month, we've supported several families that have lost their teenager to suicide.
As she begins walking those families through the darkness, she's also supporting others like the Verbenas, who are finally ready to share their story and help others learn the signs.
She would close off. She would not speak sometimes, or when she was with us, sometimes she'd want to just sleep.
That isolation factor, the depressive moods, the child or the teenager wanting to sell their belongings, or, a drastic change in their health.
They all encourage parents to push through the discomfort of talking to kids about their depression.
I have a teenager myself. Sometimes I have to just get in the middle and say, hey, can we discuss this? Even if it's, playing video games with the teenager or taking them out for a walk.
Moses said even if their response isn't immediate, keep trying.
I wanted her to know, and I want all kids to know that it's okay to not be okay.
And we appreciate the Verbenas for being brave enough to speak about their story. Anyone who is or has a loved one contemplating suicide can call or text 988. That's the 24/7 suicide lifeline. If you are a family that has lost a child to suicide, there are support groups for you. You can reach out to ABC of Southwest Texas to learn more about their services. We have all of that information on KSAT.com.
Now, a reminder that the deadline is almost here if you need financial assistance from the federal government because of the Hill Country floods. You have until this Sunday, September 28th, to apply through FEMA. This applies to people who live in the counties that you see listed on your screen. And we have a link on how to do that, how to apply for that assistance on KSAT.com.
All right, let's head outside with a look at TransGuide. We're looking at I-37 and Jones Avenue right now. Not any issues to report. Everything seems to be moving slowly on a day with less humidity, so that's good to see.
Love to see that on a Friday.
And also good to see for tomorrow morning, because Head for the Cure began just as a small 5K back in 2014 to honor our late news director, Jim Boyle, who passed away from brain cancer. The 11th annual event is finally here. It's tomorrow morning.
That's what we've been talking about this for months, and this is an event that is personal for us, the racers, and those who are watching from the sidelines. But it's really the stories behind this event that make it all the more special, like Clara Hartfield. She tells us that her father was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer back in 2009. He went into remission, but ultimately passed away in 2021. And Clara tells us that she's thankful for all the years that she got to spend with her dad.
I've realized that it's a lot more, it affects a lot more people. And Head for the Cure, not only is it something that we do for brain cancer, but I just feel like it connects me with my dad.
And that's wonderful that she's still involved with the organization after all these years. Now, for you out there, we want to let you know that the race starts at 8 a.m. tomorrow. You can still register online at our website. We have a link for that if you go to ksatcommunity.com. Also, we hope to see you there. And our Shelby Ebertowski is going to give us a forecast so that you know exactly how to dress for tomorrow's event.
And you're going to like it.
Yes.
Something else we like to talk about? Fiesta 2026, not until April. It's September, Stephanie, but it's always okay to talk about Fiesta, is it not? We're getting our first official look at the candidates for the 2026 Fiesta poster. Last night, an unveiling party was held for the 5 poster candidates.
So here's the deal. A student from each of the 5 Alamo College schools designed them. So we want you to get a really good look at them, because one of these is going to be your official Fiesta 2026 poster. But here's the thing. We're not going to find out which one it is until January. However, we did speak with the current Miss Fiesta about the story that the poster should tell.
Our poster represents everything about Fiesta, including our culture and all the amazing people that come together to celebrate Fiesta.
All right, so mark your calendars. Fiesta 2026 kicks off on April 16th.
Well, we want you to stick around right where you are because today a special group of kids has a huge reason to celebrate. We're going to take you to the ceremony after the break.
Well, for years, KSAT has consistently taken on the topic of fentanyl as it infiltrates our community and the ones across the country. It is one of the deadliest opioids that's on the streets right now. Experts say it is hidden in almost every other type of drug, including fake prescription pills and even marijuana. That's why a local nonprofit is making it their mission to make sure students and parents know about the danger of fentanyl poisoning. The group is made up of moms who have lost their children to fentanyl poisoning.
We're here today because we know that fentanyl is still active in our communities. So we're out here trying to make people aware of this. And we're also learning about the newer drugs that are on the scene, like the nitazines, and there's, the tranquilizer, the horse tranquilizer that people are taking, the trank. So we are just learning for ourselves what else we need to be getting out to the public, because we go out to schools and we have an awareness walk that we do that is coming up.
School counselor, Ms.
And I am honored to be emceeing the event for the third year in a row. It's called the Souls Walking for Souls, and it was the first ever fentanyl awareness walk in the state of Texas a few years ago. And it's happening on October 12th. I hope you'll join me in learning about this topic and honoring the lives lost. And the week before that, on October 7th, I'll also be hosting a town hall about fentanyl awareness with 4 panelists from different sectors of our community, those angel moms included. You can head to ksatcommunity.com for more information.
Now celebrating the end of a painful and emotional journey. Childhood cancer survivors and their families mark the end of treatment today over at Christus Santa Rosa.
Our Danielle Ibarra takes us to that very special ceremony.
The sound of victory.
I just said I beat it and I just fought through all the way.
Penelope Cruz waited more than a year for this moment.
It was very hard to take the pain, and I just felt bad.
Her family is celebrating.
We sacrificed and missed a lot. No more thoughts at night that she's not going to be okay because she beat it.
Several families rallied in support of childhood cancer patients.
Everyone carried one of these lanterns. The yellow ones honor someone who lost their battle to cancer. And the red ones are for those who support finding a cure.
Raise your lantern high.
And these 3 kids got the honor of holding white lanterns. They're survivors. It hasn't been easy.
It's very hard, but you can always do it in life.
In San Antonio, Danielle Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Penelope, you're such a strong little girl.
I know. We're so happy for you.
Yes. Now, we here at KSAT hope that you join us on Saturday, October 11th, over at the Rock at La Cantera for Light the Night. Hundreds of lanterns will illuminate the sky to celebrate, honor, and remember people who have been impacted by blood cancer. Our own Daniela Ibarra is going to MC that event, and we have more information on ksatcommunity.com. By the way, also a beautiful event.
That's one of the most beautiful events. Yes, it really is worth making your way out there.
So now we're going to take a live look outside because I have to say it looks pretty beautiful out there right now. It's not just that the skies are blue, it's that it's 89 degrees and the humidity is low. And the question is how long that's going to continue because, we have events going on all weekend, the 5K.
Yeah, I know Justin Horn this morning was outside doing some first weathers from, I think, the KSAT Garden, and he even mentioned how gorgeous it was. And today we got to about 65 degrees when we were waking up. Our average is 67 degrees. So that cool front that we saw the other day, it really allowed our temperatures in the morning to be a little more seasonable and a little closer to average. But our peak temperature today got to about 91. So we're still sitting above average for our afternoon temperature. But tomorrow, if you are going to the Head for the Cure race, it is going to be beautiful. We're going to see temperatures waking up in the mid to upper 60s, seeing those mostly clear skies continue to persist throughout most of the day. Our peak temperature, yes, it will continue to get to those mid 80s already by lunchtime, expecting to get to about 93. But even then, tomorrow morning and through most of the day, it's going to see that humidity be less and less. And here's why. We had that cool front come through earlier this week, and that's allowing for some drier air to feed in behind that. And I'll get to that in just a second. But take a look at our morning temperatures throughout the next 7 days. Just a week or two ago, we were waking up with our temperatures in those 70s, for some even in the 80s, and that just allowed it to be very muggy to start the day. Over the next 7 days, we'll be waking up in the 60s, even in the upper 60s for some, but it still is a potential to feel a little more like fall, even if our afternoon temperature isn't necessarily like fall. But like I mentioned, that dry air, as that cool front allowed to move now into areas just near the eastern seaboard, all that orange color, that's that dry air just filling into areas of South Texas and even just Texas in general, allowing for us to see that lesser humidity. And we do have a few low pressure systems, so we're still under a very weak omega block where we have 2 low pressure systems and a high in the middle, and that's still going to control the weather for us in San Antonio over the foreseeable future. But that low pressure system just near California and Nevada, that's going to try to bring some of that Pacific moisture over the Rockies. But that high in Mexico is going to allow some of that moisture to stay away from us. But even this weekend, tomorrow morning and Saturday morning, or tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, are going to be gorgeous. You're waking up in the 60s for some in the hill country, and just to the north, waking up in the 50s. Sunday, the only difference for our temperatures is we're going to see a little bit of a cooler temperature in the afternoon because of that cloud coverage. We're going to start to see that really increase, and that's really the only difference over the next 7 days. We're not expecting any rain chances, at least for us in San Antonio. There is a chance a few areas near the coastal plains have a chance for some sea breeze showers and thunderstorms. But even that is so low of a chance that it's not even really anything of note. But otherwise, take a look at our 7-day forecast. I'll go day by day. Tomorrow's the Head for the Cure 5K, 66. Afternoon temperature 93, and even over the next week or so, we're waking up fairly similar. Our temperatures are going to be almost copy paste. 89 degrees expected for a peak temperature on Monday, and still seeing that cloud coverage, but otherwise going throughout the rest of the week next week. You can pretty much take the copy paste Groundhog Day effect for our temperatures, staying in those 60s, peak temperatures in the 90s. But the only thing that this doesn't necessarily impact in a good way is the drought. We're still in that exceptional drought for us here in South Central Texas, so we do need rain. Although it's not going to be good rain for us here in San Antonio, it is still something that we still need to be aware about. But I will continue to give you an update on the drought conditions coming up later on in the second half of the show. Plus, take a look at the tropics that are starting to act up.
All right, Shelby, thank you. And now we're going to go back to the breaking news that we told you about during the beginning of our newscast. Bexar County Sheriff's Office, they've just announced the arrest of another person allegedly tied to the deadly shooting of a 4-year-old girl from back in May of 2024.
That shooting happened at a home on Windsor Hollow, that's on the northeast side, where 2 men with rifles shot up the home, killing that little girl. Now, our Zaria Oates just got an update on the case from Sheriff Javier Salazar. Zaria, what was he able to tell you?
Hey guys, yeah, we're finally getting an update on that Windsor Hollow shooting that we brought you for the first time back in May of 2024. And if you're seeing video of Brian Salazar, he's the 20-year-old that was arrested today. You might remember him from October of last year. Brian Salazar was actually initially arrested in October 2024 because he was arrested with tampering with evidence charges, and then he was also arrested with possession of marijuana and one other charge of deadly conduct. Since then, we do know that he's been charged with 11 separate counts. Many of them are charges on the same incident, but this is something that he had a lot to say about today because he was charged with aggravated assault mass shooting, 8 counts of that. He was also charged with 2 counts of injury to a child and 1 count of capital murder. That capital murder charge is for the death of 4-year-old Marianne Marble. Now, we are still working to learn additional information, but here's a little bit about what he had to say.
It's sad, but ain't got nothing to do with me though.
Who does it have to do with? Are you responsible in any way?
Bro, I'm as innocent as can be, bro.
Yeah, he had a lot to say this afternoon, and we did get a little bit more from him. We also got a little bit more information from Sheriff Salazar. He did say that while there is another person of interest in this case, that doesn't necessarily mean that that person will be charged. We'll continue to follow this and provide you updates as we can. Live at the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, I'm Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
It's close every year. You know, I say we're a lot like the same, you know, same kind of athletes, and we both play hard and with the grit, so it usually comes out as a battle.
Seguin is getting ready for its annual battle with district rival Bernie Champion tonight in big board sports. Well, if this year's game is anything like last year between Seguin and Bernie Champion, the crowd at Matador Stadium on homecoming night is in for a treat. This time last year, Seguin came out on the winning end of a barn burner with the Chargers, 73-66. Now the Matadors like where they're at coming into this matchup. They won 3 straight games in response to a loss to Alamo Heights week 1, and most recently Seguin defeated Victoria East 38-21 to start District 13 5A D1 action 1-0.
Every week you put the tape on, we're getting better. We're still not the best we could be yet, but every week they kind of come with a plan to clean something up that week, and you see it on video that it's improved from week to week.
It's really important for us, you know, got to go 1-0 every week. It's a new challenge every week, so that's how we look at it. Every week's going to be a battle. Just trying to scratch one off at a time, worry about who we're playing, and not really worried about the next week.
We're practicing hard. We're a lot physical out here. We like to bring it, and energy is a huge thing for us. When we're down in energy, we just can't do nothing. But this week we've been up, and we've been trying to put more energy on every side of the ball.
Well, on the other hand, Bernie Champion is 2-2, coming off of a loss to the defending state champions, Smithson Valley.
I know it won't affect them that much, you know, playing Smithson Valley. It's a tough team, but yeah, they're one of those teams that'll fight, and they're not going to stop. So they play hard, and we're going to have to play harder than them if we want to win this game.
Last year they scheduled us as their homecoming, so we kind of took that personal, being that like they thought it was going to be an easy game, and then we ended up winning that.
It's going to be a feisty one in Seguin. Here's our Week 5 BGC road trip route. Bernie Champion visiting Seguin, but Poteet travels to Marion, and the last stop, it's Marble Falls at Lavernia. KSAT 12 photojournalist Adam Barraza is at Seguin awaiting kickoff. Let's check in with him now.
Yeah, hey Mary, we're here in Seguin, Texas, Matador Stadium, getting ready for the road trip. First stop, right now, it's not pumping, it's not live. Come 7 o'clock, it's gonna be a different story. And one of the little things that I love to point out, just like I've told you before, the little things is the student section. Those fans go crazy. It's a good way to pump up the crowd. Take a listen. And with that being said, make sure you see a KSAT photographer out there. They'll get you on camera. They'll get you hyped and ready to go and help your team win. And with that, I'm going to send it back to you, Mary.
Adam always finding the little things that make high school. He's getting a cheer from the studio. He's always finding the things that make high school football great. So thank you, Adam. And here's our game of the week. Alamo Heights is at Bernie tonight for a 7 o'clock kickoff. This is one of 14 games we have scheduled to cover tonight. So be sure to tune in to the Night Beat for the highlights. Well, the 2025 Ryder Cup is underway. The Europeans were dominant in foursomes today. The U.S. battled back during the 4-ball session, but after the first day, Europe has a 5.5 to 2.5 lead on the Americans on U.S. soil. Round 2 continues tomorrow morning. And the WNBA playoffs are down to the final 4. Both series are tied at 1 game apiece between the Fever and Aces, and Mercury and Lynx. Both game 3s tip off tonight.
Busy night with all that football and basketball going on.
Busy night. Just sit on your couch and enjoy.
Yeah, let you guys do the work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you're here for. All right, thanks, Mary.
And we'll be right back after the break.
We all know one of the benefits to living in South Texas, beach trips in late September, always a blast.
Here's the thing, though. Before you head out to the coast, have you ever thought about what's actually in the water that you're about to dive into?
I try not to.
So this is a topic that we unpack in this episode of KSAT Explains.
Today, KSAT Explains takes us to the beach. Every summer, you see that headline about fecal bacteria off the Texas coast. Well, how does it end up in the water? What do you really need to know before you wade in? KSAT Explains came to Galveston to find out. Our day at the beach started out with a drive. So is this when you normally start sample collections?
8 o'clock, yes ma'am.
8 o'clock. We rode along with a team as they collect samples of ocean water to test for fecal bacteria. So how often do you do the sample collection?
So we are weekly from March through mid-October, and then every other week during the off-season, during the wintertime.
John Burns collects water samples from 55 sites across Galveston County, filling these small bottles about 100 milliliters or a little over 3 ounces from each site.
So we go out, go down about elbow depth, come back up with the water, cap it. That's the basics of it. So
okay, let's do it.
All right. My biggest thing is just to make sure that we're getting out to the proper depth, which is about 2 feet. You can go from like knee deep to neck deep pretty quick on a bad day.
So what's the next step?
Put it in the ice chest.
Then drive it back to the Galveston County Health Department, where it's picked up by a third-party lab, put into another cooler, and driven 2 hours away to be tested at East Tex Labs. We followed along.
So what we're testing for is Enterococcus,
AKA fecal bacteria. The water samples are diluted first.
We call it shake and bake, because you just add this in, shake it up, and then you incubate it. So we're going to pour this in here. It's going to fill all this up. There's small and large wells.
The sample plus solution is incubated for 24 hours.
The bacteria come along, they'll metabolize this, and when they metabolize this, it releases a fluorescent chemical compound. So that's how we actually see the end result of the test. So basically we would count up how many small and how many large wells are fluorescing.
Oh, I can already see some. The more neon you see, the more bacteria in that sample.
We see the most elevated results after rain, because there's a lot of runoff, because whatever's been on the grounds, now nature's flushing it out.
The test results are reported to the Texas General Land Office, which runs the program Texas Beach Watch. It's what all of this, from sample collecting to lab handoffs to testing, is part of.
If it has hair, fur, or feathers, in essence, that animal's contributing to fecal loading in the environment.
That's where the state believes most of the fecal bacteria in coastal waters comes from, animals.
The majority of that sampling has resulted in identifying seagulls and canine as the most significant culprits, followed up by smaller amounts from humans.
Texas Beach Watch tests water samples from beaches all along the Gulf Coast. The coastal zone is an area even larger. It's any land close enough to the coast to affect water quality. The coastal zone stretches 18 counties, from Jefferson County to Cameron County, roughly 14,000 square miles.
If it goes on the ground, it flows down.
But we can't blame only animals. There are around 250 wastewater treatment plants in the coastal zone, plus 50,000 septic systems. And sometimes things break.
There are failures in the system that could be happening. Usually when those are identified, those are fixed very quickly.
If test results show high bacteria levels, the state issues an advisory.
And what that means is the Enterococcus level is greater than 104 colony-forming units per 100 milliliters.
That's the threshold set by the Environmental Protection Agency. But you don't have to remember that very sciencey number. Just think of a stoplight instead.
When a beach advisory is listed at a particular site, the site icon turns from green to red. When it's red, that threshold of 104 colonies has been exceeded.
All of that information is online at texasbeachwatch.com. You can see if there's an advisory, what the bacteria levels are, and even the number of advisories for a particular location within the last year. It can help you decide whether you want to wade in.
There's a lot of beach. We're, I think, 25, 26 miles long, so just because there's a high sample on the seawall doesn't mean the west end has high samples or vice versa. It's very rare when we have multiple sites together, all with an advisory posted.
A state-issued advisory won't shut down a beach. That's left up to local jurisdictions. The state says bacteria levels in the water tend to be highest in March, June, and September. Why?
We're still looking into that.
So here's another question. What happens if you're exposed to fecal bacteria in the water? We came back to SA and went to University Hospital to find out.
The most common infections people are going to run into is from ingesting the water. Even if you aren't aware of drinking the water, it can get into your mouth, and you can have most commonly gastrointestinal illnesses like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea.
There's a higher concern for people who are immunocompromised, pregnant women, or people with a cut or an open wound, even a new piercing.
But if you do go in the water, make sure you cover it with a waterproof bandage to keep yourself protected there. The other thing you can do is make sure you wash your hands before you eat. A lot of times we go in the ocean water and then we eat food, but if you wash your hands afterwards or use alcohol-based hand rub to keep your hands clean before you eat, that's another way to try and reduce your risk.
There are some things we can all do to try to keep this bacteria out of the water in the first place. Pick up pet poo and pick up after yourself, too.
What do seagulls love on the beach? They love your food, and they love to come and mess with your picnic and harass you. And so keeping your food away from the seagulls, not feeding the seagulls, will help to not concentrate their dispersal of bacteria on the beach itself as well. Each one of us plays a role, and we have some level of responsibility.
Wow.
That's good to know.
All I'm gonna say.
It's a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of good stuff to know.
So don't forget that you can watch all of our episodes of KSAT Explains, just like this one, for free.
Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to the full library. We'll be right back after this. Let's head outside this evening with a look at live cam. 89 degrees. It started cool. It is toasty, but it is not as humid as it was.
We can all be grateful for that. But look at those beautiful blue skies. And yeah, so we won't have much rain for a while, but our Shelby Ebertowski is going to tell us more about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, and we're not expecting any more rain, and I'll talk about the drought monitor coming up, but even if you're going out and about the rest of your afternoon and evening, yes, it's still going to be warm in the 80s and even near 90s, but it's going to be dry. And we're going to stay keeping those drier conditions over the next 7 days. But like I mentioned, we're not expecting any rain, drier conditions. But not only are we still in that drought, portions of the country are going to see some heavy rainfall coming up because of some tropical moisture. I'll talk about the tropics and take a look at that drought monitor coming up after the break.
All right, so welcome back. We want you to get ready because it's going to be a pretty busy weekend with awesome.
Head for the cure. You delivered, Shelby. I'm just going to say it's because of you.
You did it.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Head for the cure is going to be beautiful tomorrow because of that lower humidity.
Starts at 8 a.m.
Yep.
Yes. And that lower humidity is going to be very much well appreciated. It's already appreciated, but something that low humidity, because that's going to stay in areas of San Antonio, we're not expecting any rain, which is going to have an impact for our drought. We're still in that exceptional and that extreme drought for Medina County, Bexar County, going towards Atascosa, even in Del Rio. Now, this is the latest drought monitor that was issued yesterday, and not much of a difference between last week's and this week's drought monitor, except for folks just to the east. We're talking where you see that kind of orange color, and even then that beige and yellow color, the abnormally dry to even that severe drought, that's continued to expand to the east because we've had that lack of rain. But not only are we seeing that lack of rain, portions near the southern east of the United States are having to brace for the chance that they might see some rain because of the tropics. So we are still in hurricane season, and we just had the other day the named storm, which is Humberto. The next one that could potentially be named is Imelda, and that's the storm we're watching. So there's a few things to know. First off, we still have Hurricane Humberto. That is a Category 3 hurricane with winds up to about 115 miles an hour. Now, this is going to still play a factor. If you are going to Bermuda, that could have an impact. That is where it's expected. But here's another thing. Right now, we do have another area that, if it were to be named, would be Imelda, and it's just right in between the Dominican, Puerto Rico, in between just after it left the Leeward Islands. And even then, here's what we're watching. It does appear when you do get to tropical systems, There are a few scenarios. They could merge and the bigger storm could take all of the moisture from the smaller storm, or it could happen what is expected to happen. You see these two systems just move parallel to each other. Now, Humberto is still supposed to impact portions of Bermuda, but here's what we're watching. If Imelda is named, it does appear to have most of these spaghetti plots of all of our weather models have it go straight to the United States. But here's the thing. It might not even become a hurricane. It might not even become a tropical storm. But as of now, this center and this storm that or cluster of storms is expected to get to the United States. And here's a look at that rough future cast. It is still a ways away, and these models aren't necessarily the best at at idealizing all of these tropical systems, but there is a high pressure just to the east of Bermuda that will allow Humberto to just skirt by. But here's the thing, what would be Imelda is also going to get sucked in behind Humberto, but also that low pressure system that will be sitting over portions of the United States. And all of that tropical moisture could have an impact, and ideally it would make landfall either between late Monday night and even into Wednesday morning. I know that's a big time frame, but depending on how much moisture it's allowed to get, as well as how much moisture Humberto is also going to be able to get, it's also expected to have impacts towards areas of Bermuda as we go into Tuesday morning. Now, here's the thing. Humberto still goes to the east of Bermuda, but the tropical system that does appear to have impact to the United States could linger, bringing some rain chances. So if you are going to the East Coast, you might want to be advised and be aware about some sort of rain chances. But for us, completely different story. We're not expecting any rain over the next 7 days, just temperatures waking up in those 60s, peak temperatures in the upper 90s and even upper 80s, low 90s with that low humidity for the next foreseeable future, guys.
I'm just looking at those upper 60s and those are looking so good.
Hyper focused. If we're not getting rain, we might as well be excited about something. That's what we could be excited
absolutely
about.
Thank you. So now we want you to take a look at what's happening on ABC Primetime at 7 o'clock right after this show. It's Steve Harvey with an edition of Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, and then that'll be followed by 2020. And then at 10, guess who's back?
Ooh,
us here.
Ooh,
Join us
us
here at 10 for the Night Beat. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, my friends. We keep talking about what a busy weekend this is, but that also applies when it comes to sports because the boys have a big game coming up.
They do. Lots of them have a big game coming up. Mary, you are giving us a preview of KSAT Sports Now. You're in the newsroom. Tell us about it.
Yes, coming up on KSAT Sports Now, this Friday edition, which you can stream on KSAT Plus and KSAT.com. We're previewing this weekend's NFL slate. The Cowboys are in action, and the headlines are juicy. On one side, Dallas will be without their star receiver CeeDee Lamb, but on the other side, the Packers come to town for the first time since former Dallas star edge rusher Micah Parsons was traded for Kenny Clark and a few picks. So that matchup goes down Sunday night. We're previewing it. Also, the Texans winless going into this week. They host Cam Ward, former UIW quarterback, and the Tennessee Titans, another winless team. So we'll see who can get their first win of the season. Beyond NFL, we're talking UIW football, college football, and getting you ready for tonight's high school football slate. So that's all coming up on KSAT Sports Now. We'll be right back.
All right, my friends, before we let you go, we want to just show you what the traffic is like out there. Obviously, it's hopping. People got places where they need to be. It's Friday, after all. So here's a live look at I-35 at San Marcos, where you could see that even though those traffic cones are set up on the lanes to the right of your screen, it's not affecting traffic whatsoever. Exactly what we like to see.
Smooth sailing. I like to think the same for the weather, Shelby. I feel like this is a smooth sailing week, which we really need.
Oh, definitely. And all that busyness I see out there currently, I better see tomorrow morning at the Head for the Cure. It'll be beautiful, 66 degrees in the morning, seeing the 93 degrees being our peak temperature in the afternoon. And although we are still expecting those clear skies for most of us, we are seeing the temperature still in the 90s. But the good news is although we're still going to be in the 90s, 88 degrees up in Fredericksburg, 86 in Rock Springs, and the key information is that low humidity tomorrow afternoon. So it is going to feel like our actual temperature, if not a few degrees cooler, and that is going to be copy-paste pretty much for the next 7 days. It'll be beautiful in the mornings and still beautiful in the afternoons.
All right, thank you so much, Shelby. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you tonight for the Night Beat. Have a nice dinner.
Happy Friday.